And we are back on Out and About today with Brent and Pam at Out and About Nashville's James Grady as we continue to look back at some of 2016's highlights. We love looking back, and one of the artists who lives here in Nashville, one of our favorites, Ty Herndon, he came out with his first CD since he announced that he was out in 2014. So this is the first time we've heard music from him. So kind of what are your feelings? Do you think there was a lot of pressure on him to put out new music after he had announced Gay, or was it just, standard? What do you guys think? Start with you, Pam.
Do you know him personally? Mm-hmm. So you tell us. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that was a scary thing. Is that why there was a delay of a little bit of time?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he said he took a lot more time writing, worked with a lot more people on this one than he had. One of the things I thought was interesting was he was talking about how some of Reba's advice to him when he was younger about constantly reinventing yourself. He said he had no idea how true that would be with this, because he was able to be so honest. One of the things, though, that somebody realized after he had completed the songs that were going to make the CD, they said it's basically gender-free. It's not like everything's, same sex or it's opposite sex. It's just gender-free. Just
That's
kind of the way
good.
that it turned out. Yeah.
Did he feel a backlash?
So, yeah, absolutely. Said it was tough. Did you hear more about that?
No, I did. I was reading a couple of articles over the last few days about that, and it just said kind of what you guys just said, that it took him a little bit of time to feel comfortable. I mean, yeah, imagine like you came out of the closet to your family, and then that next visit home, you had that time in between. You've got to figure yourself out, kind of decide what you want to do, what you want to say, and how you're going to say it, and keep some of those fans. So it was just interesting to hear sort of the media's perspective on his coming out, marrying up.
And
with
then
his
you
own.
guys talk with him some?
Yeah,
We did. I mean, we talked to him a couple of times, and just about the music, though. I think once you come out like that, and there were some people that were talking about it being a publicity thing, right? So when you come out with your next music, it has to be credible for people to think, okay, he's just trying to get a new life on his career by doing this popular, splashy thing. And no, it wasn't that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Ty in action. This is one of the singles and videos from the project. This is Fighter, and there's a lot of truth in what he's saying here, so take a look.
Bring on the fire, try to burn me out. Bring on the wind, try to knock me down. Bring on the rain, all of the pain, 'cause I got a faith that'll never drown. Just when you think I can't take no more, I come back stronger than I was before. 'Cause when I'm down in the dirt, I'm gonna rise up even higher than I was before. I was born a survivor, a fighter.
All right, we are looking back. Ty Herndon came out with a great CD this year, and that was Fighter from that CD. So let's also talk about, you brought up Marissa Richmond. Actually, Brent, that's Brent.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right. But Marissa, I mean, she's had a great year. Let's talk about that.
She has, and what I thought this would be a sort of a positive lead into the rest of the discussion here. But yeah, Marissa being at the Democratic National Convention, I think we got some photos we're going to scroll through of her there. Was just a big leap for not only for her individually, but for trans people especially. She was right there on stage with her. I think one of the pictures shows you. She's had a big year. She's done a lot of other things. She's been on our show a lot. She's just seen a lot of progress, but she's also worked really hard again this year. I love her dearly. She's one of my best friends.
So, and James, do you see challenges in particular for the trans community moving forward?
I think that was obvious, I think, before the election. I mean, just locally, I think that there are some leadership issues. When we talked to the leaders of the Tennessee Transgender Political Coalition, they're having some leadership issues. They need more volunteers. They need more support. And then this happens. So I think it's going to be a hard year.
What would you, like, if you were sitting down and talking with Marissa, what would some of the things you would want to know from her about moving forward?
I would want to know what her game plan is, how she's going to get involved, what is the best plan of action, because you have to now. And when she was on the show right after the convention, she wanted to not just share her experiences, but hopefully motivate people to get involved.
Yeah.
And if this kind of loss doesn't, I think it has to motivate us.
Well, like you were saying, Chuck, I'd seen some of her posts on social about just trying to reinforce still that same message that, now even more so, you've got to get involved, because you can't just run and hide. Take a little time to mourn, but get back out there and be involved.
Do you think that's going to affect people? Do you think, or motivate people, I should say, as far as getting involved? Or do you think people are going to be a little just kind of like they're beaten down and they're like, what good is it?
I think it takes a minute, right?
Yeah.
So this has been recent, and we all talked before shooting today that maybe we weren't overconfident with Hillary, but we did think she was going to win, right? And as our guest after guest said the same thing, maybe not on air, but off air. And to me, what struck me about this loss, we've had a lot of wins, right? Over the last, since Obama came in office, a lot of wins, little wins, maybe capping with marriage equality in June 2015. When you're winning and you're on what you believe is the right side of history, you put down that there are so many people that don't agree with you. Not put down, but you don't realize that there are still a lot of people, millions, tens of millions of people who are not on your side. And that's what this loss has done for me. Realize, wow, we're not just going and winning and winning. This is like a punch in the gut.
And like you and I have talked about before too, it's like it gets you outside of the bubble you live in as well. Like you said, we live in sort of we live in a little bit of a blue bubble here, and forget that there's a lot of red outside of here, and they have a voice too, and they clearly exercised it.
Right. Well, I mean, we're obviously talking about the election. Now we've kind of moved into that. James, I know, and especially as editor of Out and About Nashville, you hear many voices. And of course, obviously, a lot of the voices are going to be from the LGBT community. But did you hear more so from people against LGBT community throughout the election than you expected to, or did you hear more support than you expected to?
I think it's not only an LGBT bubble, but it's a Nashville bubble. We hear from mostly people in our area, and so a lot of support. And that I think was a little misleading. Because we're hearing from Davidson County, we're hearing from the cities, we're hearing from, and the fact that we don't get hate mail every day is kind of a privilege that if we were trying to do the same thing in Franklin, we might not have the benefit of. And so there's a lot of anger out there, and I know that in my own social media, I've been retweeted onto alt-right websites, so I've been getting tons of like nasty hate tweets and things like that, and people that I know have had their names and addresses put on those websites. So it's ugly in the broader scheme of things.
And I know people all across the country and in this area too, obviously, but they take things personally. Do you take it personally, or do you just kind of deflect?
I've really had to work on it because I do take it really personally. I tell people I rarely look at comments on the website, even from people that are being nice, much less. So I've learned to just block and move on.
Right.
I take it personally, for sure. And I've avoided Facebook for seeing things because I didn't want to be upset with people. But I was reminded by somebody who voted, or when Obama got elected in 2008, he said, I thought the world was going to end. I thought we were going to be seen as a weak country. We were going to be light on terror. He just came from a whole different perspective. And then he really was trying to talk me up. He was a non-voter. If having to vote, he would have voted for Trump, and he would have voted because of his pocketbook that way. That's just the reality. And so he was trying to pump me up, saying the world's not going to end. I can't relate to that, but it's been a little bit of an awakening. And a lot of people I've heard, friends say that their family and friends who voted for Trump are doing the old get over it. I mean, it's been a short time. I need a little bit more time to get over it.
Well, what about when you hear something like when Trump's on 60 Minutes and he says, something about, I don't have a problem with it, and the way he phrases it, and when they say, well, the Supreme Court, it's already done. It's done. I've got my opinions on it, but what were your opinions when you heard him talk about that, Brent?
Well, two things. First of all, he's proven time and time again that no matter what he says, he's either lying or will change it later. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's saying it and it's going to stick. But what sort of concerns me more is the people beneath him, the people that he's appointing to all of these positions that are really going to be carrying out that day-to-day type of thing. So, I mean, is he over here saying one thing and then the right hand's over here doing something else? So that's where I really get confused. You kind of have to just really pay attention. He may be saying this on 60 Minutes and be saying, well, that's said and done, but what is Mike Pence up to? What is his cabinet up to? What are they really doing? Who are they meeting with? And that's the part I'm trying to keep my eye on. Not what he says, but what happens.
And what about Hillary? I mean, we're talking a lot about Trump and that factor. Hillary, she's come back, looking back, saying, obviously it was devastating, but don't ever stop fighting. Don't ever stop. So what are your feelings about the year moving forward, the years moving forward for Hillary?
I think that's all we can do. I mean, like I said a while ago, she's right. I mean, it's hard for her to say that. I'm sure. I couldn't imagine having lost the presidency and still having more votes than any woman before or anybody in a popular vote split. So I mean, for her to come out and say that, yeah, that's a hard pill for her to swallow. But really, what else can you encourage people to do? I mean, I think we need to be looking forward to the midterm election. We need to be looking to local politics. We've got a mayor here who said that she supports us and that we don't have to feel like the police are coming after
Right.
us. So let's look locally and then focus nationally as we can.
That's great to know. We want to make sure that we talk about what's coming up this December on Out and About Nashville and Out and About Nashville.
Well, this December is our annual sort of reader voting for the favorites, and our cover this month is Philip Chadwick, who is voted best florist, and you're one of our winners this time. So we're kind of celebrating, and I think it's an important thing, right? We're celebrating the presence of
That's
gay
right.
Nashville.
Lots to celebrate. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with the cast of Hand of God right after this.